Oi girls and boys and everything in between, it's Ace Trainer Liam back with another episode of Form Fight. Form Fight is a series where we take a look at a Pokemon with more than one form or a branched evolution or counterpart Pokemon. We look at the differences between those forms and we try and work out which one is the best. And so we can see these Pokemon forms in action on the battlefield. We also have a Metronome Battle between the different Pokemon in question just for a little bit of fun. If you're a fan of the Form Fight series and you're ready for more, make sure you hit the like button to show your appreciation for the series, and of course if you're new, subscribe with notifications on so you never miss an episode. But with all that out of the way, let's take a look at today's challenges. Today we're going to be comparing the two forms of Audino, which are Audino and Mega Audino. Whenever you catch an Audino or breed one or hatch one, it will always be in its regular form. However, an Audino holding Audinite has the ability to Mega Evolve during a battle into Mega Audino, and it will remain that way for the rest of the battle. But what makes these two Pokemon forms so different? Let's take a look. Audino stands at 1.1 meters tall and weighs 31 kilograms, whereas Mega Audino stands at 1.5 meters tall and weighs 32 kilograms. They both share a Pokédex entry which reads, using the feelers on its ears, it can tell how someone is feeling or when an egg might hatch. It touches others with the feelers on its ears, using the sound of their heartbeats to tell how they are feeling. In terms of appearance, they both share very similar body shapes, both looking like kind of weird bear/rabbit hybrids, only with regular Audino having deep blue eyes and of course a kind of pink jacket, whereas Mega Audino seems to be a lot more dressed up in its white kind of robe and instead of course has pink eyes. In their shiny forms, the pink areas of regular Audino change to a more purple colour, and on Mega Audino, the kind of pink areas and the pink eyes turn to a more golden yellowy colour. Now let's take a look at the typing, weaknesses and resistances of these Pokemon. Regular Audino is a pure normal type Pokemon, making it only weak to fighting type moves with no resistances and complete immunity to ghost type moves. As for Mega Audino, it's a dual type normal and fairy Pokemon, which makes it weak to poison and steel type attacks. It's resistant to bug and dark type attacks, and it's immune completely to ghost and dragon type moves. Now let's take a look at the stats and abilities of these Pokemon forms. Audino is blessed with a great HP stat and somewhat decent defenses. However, in terms of attack, special attack and speed, everything's pretty lackluster. It's certainly a bulky Pokemon that can be used for stalling, but there are better bulky stally Pokemon such as Blissey in existence with the same typing. Its primary ability is Healer, which gives Audino a 30% chance of healing an adjacent ally's status condition. This can be very handy if you're in a double or triple battle situation where you're using a very stally Audino to kind of be the healer of your team. However, with it only being a 30% chance to remove a status condition, it's not really an ability you want to be banking on. Its secondary ability is Regenerator, which restores a third of Audino's HP upon switching out. This is a fantastic ability for Audino as a Pokemon that relies heavily on stall tactics, basically wanting to survive long enough for moves like Toxic to wear the opponent down while still maintaining a good deal of its HP. Staying power is incredibly important for Audino, so being able to switch out, restore a third of its overall HP with that bulk in mind is a real tough factor to deal with when you're the one trying to take Audino down. Its hidden ability is Klutz, which prevents the effects of a held item this Pokemon is holding from actually applying. Now while this might seem like a very useless ability, it does allow for some tricky tactics in the sense of holding things like a Toxic Orb without being poisoned by it and being able to kind of switch it onto opponents, whether that's by switching it yourself or your opponent stealing your held item and then, oh dear, it's a Toxic Orb when they didn't realize. And just little tactics like that really do actually make the Klutz ability kind of useful, but at the same time, with Audino, you're going to want to stick with Regenerator, to be honest. As for Mega Audino, it does get a slight increase in special attack, but the majority of the stat increase that comes with Mega Evolution is invested in making Mega Audino even more bulky than its predecessor, boasting a terrifying combination of defense and special defense to go along with that original HP stat, which is already pretty high. Mega Audino only gets access to one ability, and that is the Healer ability, as we talked about before, which is fine, but it kind of restricts you to only really being able to use Mega Audino effectively in double battles, because you can't take advantage of that ability in single battles, so you're really restricted in the strategies you can actually adopt when using Mega Audino. And it's things like this choice of ability that make other stally, bulky Pokemon more effective than Audino. Now it's time for me to decide which of these Pokemon forms I prefer, and it's another case of the Mega Evolution not really living up to what a Mega Evolved Pokemon should be. Like, great, it's bulky, it's got great defense, it's got great special defense, it's a very good all-round bulky Pokemon, but at the same time, its ability lets it down. And at the same time, it's got more weaknesses. Alright, it's got more resistances and more immunities, but it's still got more weaknesses than its predecessor. And I just feel like regular Audino just does everything I'd need an Audino to do. Alright, it's not as bulky, but it just doesn't really matter. In terms of appearance, I don't really value either of these Pokemon appearance-wise, but maybe regular Audino's a little bit cuter. Maybe it's something to do with the pink and the fact that it looks like it's wearing a little jacket. Again, as with a lot of Mega Evolved Pokemon, Mega Audino looks a little bit too over-designed, a little bit too much like it's no longer just, oh, its fur is patterned that way. It's more, oh look, it is actually wearing a robe. So I don't really rate Mega Audino. I think I'm definitely looking at regular Audino as my favourite of this bunch. But of course, it's not just up to me, it's up to you guys as well to decide which of these two Pokemon forms is your favourite. But before you decide, let's see these Pokemon in action. It's time for the Metronome Battle. Before we get into the battle, I will of course point out these Pokemon have max IVs in all stats, 0 EVs in all stats, they're not holding any items, they've got neutral natures. Regular Audino has its hidden ability Klutz, because I always give the Pokemon in these battles their hidden ability if they have one. Mega Audino has obviously only access to one ability, which is Healer. The only real advantage or disadvantage with these Pokemon is going to come from their base stats and their typing. Everything else is up to the mercy of the Metronome. Let's go. Oi oi, girls and boys and everything in between, here we go. Audino versus Mega Audino. Open your ears for the hearing Pokemon. Let's get ready to watch these adorable Pokemon rumble. Let's see what happens in this one. Let's see who comes out victorious. Regular Mega Audino starting things off with Skill Swap. It's going to give the healer ability to regular shiny Audino. I mean, why not? Sure, go for it. Shiny regular Audino now gets healer, and Mega Audino now has Klutz. That makes complete sense. Here's a jump kick, a neutral jump kick to start things off. A decent amount of damage. I mean, coming from an Audino onto a Mega Audino, that was a decent amount of damage. Here's regular Audino with acid armor, going to increase its defense stat sharply. +2 defense on that Audino right now. Here's shiny Mega Audino. What's it got in store? It's got Play Nice, going to lower the attack stat of regular Audino. I mean, good job there, because Audino's attack stat's already really, really minimal, so to lower it even more, it's not going to be fun for the Audino team. They've definitely got an uphill battle going against these bulk monsters. Here's a flamethrower from regular Mega Audino onto shiny Audino. This is going to be a very difficult battle, I think, for the non-Mega team. Or I can never say it. Autotomize? Yep, Autotomize. +2 in +2 speed and -220 pounds. Here's some coil action from shiny Mega Audino. Here we go with the attack raised, the defense raised, and the accuracy raised. It is poised and ready to strike. Here we see regular old Audino going for a heavy slam. That is a super effective move, but remember, it's coming from a Pokemon that only weighs 31 kilograms, so it didn't do that much damage. Oh my word. Here we see shiny regular Audino. What's it going to bring to the table? Waterfall, going for the physical moves though. Really wants to try and hit those physical moves. It's just chip damage at this point. It's really just chip damage. We see regular Audino going for a Skull Bash, trying to pull out all the stops right now, raising its defense for this turn, getting ready to smash its head into the Mega team. Here's shiny Mega Audino going for Crab Hammer. That's a beautiful move, by the way. Look at that animation. Doing significant damage to shiny regular Audino. Here is regular Mega Audino with Soft Boiled. To be honest, this is good that it used it right now, because it would have been much more devastating if its HP was below 50%. It would have absolutely killed the momentum of the regular Audino team. Here's shiny regular Audino with a Future Sight. Gonna try and attack in a few turns' time. That's absolutely fine. Just try and do some damage, guys. Here's shiny Mega going for Spark. Okay, that is gonna do. Did a decent amount of damage and paralyzes shiny regular Audino. That's not good. Here comes the Skull Bash from the previous turn. It did so little damage. It's supposed to do so much, and it did so little. I think that's a stab move as well. First impression fails because it's not the first turn. I'm pretty sure Skull Bash is not a rock type move and is a normal type move. Answers in the comments. Here's regular Audino with a Future Sight of its own, but of course it failed because there is another Future Sight already in progress. Here's shiny regular Audino with Disarming Voice. That is going to hit both the Megas, but let's face it, it's not going to do a lot, is it? Oh dear, it's such a struggle against these bulky monsters. Final Gambit though! regular Mega Audino going to sacrifice itself. 7 HP on that regular Audino. The Mega goes down. The dynamic of this battle just shifted dramatically. It's now 1 Mega versus 2. Karate Chop, that is going to be super effective though. Is it going to knock? It's not going to knock out. Oh, that was so close though. We have 2 Audino in the red against 1 Mega Audino with a lot of HP. Roar of Time isn't going to affect the Fairy type Mega evolution. What's regular Audino got in mind? It's going to go for Psycho Shift and it's going to fail. Oh my goodness, it's Mega's turn to strike. What's it going to do? It needs to do something. Psycho Cut on shiny regular Audino. That goes down. Oh dear. What is regular Audino going to do to gain the victory? You need a Fissure or a Guillotine or something. Oh my goodness. Here's Autotomize. I still can't say it properly, but that's going to raise the speed sharply and lower the weight of that Mega Audino as well, making it very, very nimble. What's regular Audino got in mind? Arrest. Uproar locks itself into Uproar, so it can't even heal itself. It has to. It did decent damage though, my goodness. Is it going to be enough though? I mean, it needs to get really lucky with whatever Mega decides to use, but Icy Wind, that's got to be it. That's got to be it. 7 HP, that Icy Wind has done the job. The Megas have taken it, but you've got to say, the regular team did put up a decent fight in the end, my goodness. Although, I guess 1 Mega sacrificed itself. Well done, Megas, regardless. So you've heard what I've got to say, you've seen these Pokemon on the battlefield, but now it's time for you to decide which of these 2 forms of Audino is your favourite. Is it regular Audino? Is it Mega Audino? Let me know down in the comments and explain to everybody why your pick is the absolute best. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Of course, if you're new, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode of Form Fight. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.